Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Winter Storm Orlena is still currently affecting the United States. It dropped several feet of snow to the western coast, it dropped several feet of snow to the central part of the U.S., and it dropped several feet of snow, possibly over 30 inches to some places here along the eastern coast. And as you all can see, it is still currently affecting the United States. Also, something very big that happened this morning, a little friend came out of his little burrow today and decided whether or not we are going to have an early spring or a long winter. What happened to that? I will tell you all about that and Winter Storm Orlena coming up right here. Thank you all so much for joining me on this wonderful day and very chilly day of the second day of February in this brand new year. I'm meteorologist Kenny, and we have a lot to talk about today. I will be bringing you all up to date on the latest forecast on Winter Storm Orlena. As I just showed you, it is still currently affecting the eastern U.S. Not really most of the southeastern U.S., but mostly into New England and parts of that area. Most of the action is mostly gone, but some of it is still lingering around in some parts of the New England areas. But before I get into that, I want to let you all know that to save as much time as possible, I will be doing two parts of this broadcast. The first part, we'll be bringing you all up to date on everything that happened this morning with Punxsutawney Phil. Did he see his shadow or not? I will tell you all about that just coming up. And then in my second part, I will bring you all up to date on the latest information on Winter Storm Orlena. So let's get right into what happened this morning. Most of you don't know this, but today was actually Groundhog Day, and what that is a little groundhog comes out of his little burrow, comes up, and he will determine whether or not he sees a shadow or not. And what that means is that if he sees a shadow, that he is calling for a late winter, a very long winter, and if he does not see his shadow, which some people like, then we will have an early spring. But what was his prediction? I will tell you all about that in just a second. So this is basically where Phil lives, his little burrow right here. You all can see his little house right here. So what they will do is lift him up right onto this little ledge right here, and then he will tell his best friend whether he sees his shadow or not. So most of you don't know where Punxsutawney actually is in Pennsylvania. It is right here in this south central part of Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is way over here, so basically nowhere close to Philadelphia. So right here in the western central part of Pennsylvania, that is exactly where Punxsutawney is. So this is what Groundhog Day usually would look like in Punxsutawney, but obviously because of COVID, nobody was allowed to go there. The only way that people were able to watch this morning was sitting down on their couch or in front of their screen and watching it, which honestly I do not think was a bad idea, considering everybody out there this time of year is always freezing their buns off. Just to sit back, relax on your couch, and you're having a cup of hot cocoa in your hands and watch that. I honestly do not think that is a bad idea. So honestly, a very good day. I mean, look at that little guy. He's so little cute. So here's a better picture of Phil. Obviously, they rose him up out of his burrow today, and he decided whether or not he saw his shadow. Now, the big question that you all probably are wondering is, did he see his shadow or not? And yes, he did this morning. He was rose out of his burrow, and he did see his shadow, which means that we're going to have about 6 more weeks of winter, which honestly I think is a pretty good prediction, because as I was watching AMHQ this morning, the Weather Channel was telling me that we're gonna have a big cold air mass coming down from the polar vortex, and that will drop some people's low about 20 degrees. So some people's temperatures, the high temperatures, could be around 20, with the lows in the lows in the single digits, possibly even the wind chills in the negative digits. So a very chilly end to possibly the second month of this brand new year. But so once again, Punxsutawney Phil did see his shadow this morning, calling for 6 more weeks of winter. So that is all I have for you all right now in this part. As I said, in the next part, I will bring you all up to date on the latest information on Winter Storm Orlena. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of my broadcast. I just showed you all how Punxsutawney Phil came out of his burrow this morning and called for 6 more weeks of winter, and I explained to you all why I thought that was so accurate, considering what's going to be happening with the polar vortex. But honestly, and probably the best way we've ever been able to watch Groundhog Day was back on our couches, a glass of hot cocoa on our hands, with the blankets all wrapped around us. Considering how cold it is, I honestly did not think that was a bad idea, considering when everybody's out there, they're always freezing their buns off and everything. So honestly, I did not think that was a bad idea. But let's move on to that. Let's move on to our main system, Winter Storm Orlena. This is the system that was way over there on the western coast, came all the way over here, dropped several feet of snow over there, and dropped several feet of snow here. So basically a very big coast-to-coast storm. And believe it or not, it is still currently affecting the eastern coast. Here's a better look at it on our surface map. You all can see the area low pressure starting to track a little bit more now to the northeast. This system has been a very slow mover, and it's still currently a very slow mover. You all can see how much snow is still currently affecting all throughout here on the northeastern seaboard. So let's talk about some of the highest snowfall totals we've already seen. Look at this. Near Hancock, Maryland, we've seen over 20 inches of snow. Okay, I mean that's almost 2 feet. Okay, 12 inches is 1 foot. 24 inches is 2 foot. So basically 2 feet of snow, possibly up to right here. So that is a very high number. Let's look at some of these numbers. East Action, Massachusetts, 21.5. So just above Hancock, Maryland. Now look at some of these numbers. Montague, New Jersey, 33.2 inches. That is about up to here, y'all. Unbelievable. And even a bigger number near Nazareth, Pennsylvania, 35.5 inches of snow. Okay, that is about up to here on us, y'all. That is how much snow some people saw, and is still currently seeing as the system currently affects the whole entire northeastern seaboard. So how much snow across the board have we seen from January 30th all the way throughout the new year into basically today? Look at some of these numbers. Possibly over 40 inches of snow, guys. That is unbelievable. Some of these numbers we've seen. I mean, a huge swath of 3 or 5, but right around just to the west of the New York City metro area, possibly over 30 inches of snow. As I just told you all, over 30 inches of snow, y'all. Unbelievable, some of these snowfall rates that we've seen. Now let's zoom in on a couple places featuring Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Okay. Now obviously the eastern parts of Rhode Island, Massachusetts did see some of the low numbers, possibly topping around 35 inches. But let's really zoom in on this area. Look at this. 15.5 inches in Warren, Connecticut. Excuse me. Let's look at some others numbers here. Manchester, Connecticut, 10.8. Let's see some other numbers. Weston, Connecticut, 14.1. So I mean, as I said, a huge swath of about over 20 inches of snow. So this is what is still currently going on. You all can see a very heavy, band of snow showers still working their way around that area of low pressure. Most of the action is now somewhat out of the places like New York City, eastern Pennsylvania, southern New York, possibly places in the New England areas like Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. But now we're starting to get into some of that very heavy snow, parts of northern New York, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and even into northern Maine. Now, obviously, because we're still watching a lot of snowfall, we still currently have winter storm warnings in a place like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New York City, Syracuse, New York, Albany, New York, Burlington, Vermont. You might actually be in a winter storm advisory. Boston, Massachusetts, still in a winter storm alert. And then as you go obviously into the whole state of Vermont and then eventually into Maine, we're still into that winter storm warning, considering some of these snowfall rates that we're going to be seeing. Now, on the rainier side of this, we're really not seeing too much risk with the storm as we go into the coastal flood warning. Just in places just to the east of New York City, Atlantic City, we're in that, so not a lot of things to watch. But as we get those onshore winds, we could definitely possibly see some more flooding. Now, let's talk about some of the wind gusts that we've been seeing. Okay, Atlantic City, really not seeing any wind gusts there. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, still gusting up to 25 miles an hour. Albany, New York, gusting up to 20 miles an hour. Boston, Massachusetts, we're steady. We're around 17 miles an hour. Providence, Rhode Island, topping out at 18, gusting to 24. And then last but not least, New York City topping out at 12 miles an hour, gusting up to 18. Now let's talk about the forecast throughout the rest of tonight and then eventually into tomorrow morning. Most of these areas will be light and variable, not probably as light as you would think it is, but not as strong as we have seen with the storm. So basically everywhere across the board, topping out maybe in that 15 to 25, possibly even higher than that, in a place like Philadelphia and Pennsylvania tonight at 7 o'clock, but still a lot better than what we haven't seen the past few days. Now, how much snow are we talking throughout the rest of this afternoon? Wide swath, as I just said, northern New York, northern Vermont, and northern New Hampshire, possibly topping out in that 5 to 8 range, and then eventually as you get into northern Maine and some parts of central Vermont, possibly topping out maybe 8 to 12 inches, possibly another foot of rain being dumped because of this major snow system. Thankfully, where we were seeing those highest snow totals, I think most of our action is completely done by now. Possibly a few scattered snow showers right here on Long Island, but really nothing like we have been seeing over the last few days. So that is all I have for you all today. Thank you all so much for watching and trusting me to bring you all up to date on the latest information possible. If there's anything else going on with this storm, I will do probably a broadcast as soon as I get the latest information, which will probably be tomorrow. I do not have school tomorrow, so I will try to bring you all up to date on the latest information as fast as I can. But once again, please be sure that you are staying tuned to both my YouTube channel and my website, clicking that subscribe button if you haven't already, so that way you're not missing out on a single video, because I will bring you all up to date on the latest information possible on every single storm. So again, that is all I have for you all today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.